And just the three. One is recognition of the inherent dignity and of equal, inalienable rights of members of the human family, all of which are indispensable for freedom, justice, and peace to prevail. Second, these rights are most effectively maintained and protected in a democratic society where government is responsible to a freely elected representative of the people, operating under a sovereign constitution and a free and independent judiciary. These rights have, of course, as you know, for so long been denied of our people by colonialism, racism, and apartheid. And finally, on that preamble, it says, as a result, I quote, "We, the people," unquote, accept, the people of Namibia accept and adopt the Constitution as fundamental law of our sovereign and independent republic. And the following words are the reasons why I'm quoting this preamble. And quote, "which expresses for ourselves and for our children our resolve to cherish and to protect the gains of our long struggle against colonialism, racism, and apartheid," unquote. These excerpts are 30 years old. They were inscribed in the Constitution in that process of negotiation to adopt the Constitution, which took place in that year of our Lord, 1989. You remember that year? 1989. Those who participated in the writing of that Constitution, and those that are still alive, each of them, to their age, has been added 30 years. Because 1989 plus 30 years gives you 2019. I salute them with emphasis for their futuristic expression. Again, quote, "adopt the Constitution with which expresses for ourselves and for our children," and unquote. These children contemplated therein are those of you born in a free and independent Namibia. Those of you that will be born in a Namibia that is free. And we know our independence is from 21st March 1990. The person who's speaking also happened to have voted for the first time in 1989. So therefore, I am also an ancestor insofar as the democratic transformation of our country is concerned. It is you, the young people of Namibia, and those yet unborn, that must love Namibia. And this love and loyalty to Namibia is, in my view, what patriotism is all about. On its part, citizenship is defined in the Constitution under Chapter 2, Article 4. It stipulates the requirements that are bestowed on a person to become a citizen of Namibia. And young as you are, it is instructive that you should be able to read that. Read that so that you know. Nobody can tell you or spice it for you that which you yourself have read and able to understand. Once again, salutations to you, the organizers, for having deemed it urgent to launch this patriotic discourse. The Namibian Patriot, the role of a young Namibian Patriot. It is the young patriots, present and the future, that will protect the gains of our long national struggle against colonialism, racism, apartheid, and above all, the new vices of corruption, nepotism, tribalism, and all those other retrogressive tendencies. Director of Ceremonies. The world belongs to the young children. The world belongs to the children. The children cannot be and could not be what they are without them having been biologically produced by the elders. So the elders, therefore, need not feel agitated. They are just the offsprings that you have created. Just like in Berlin, just like in Germany. So the process of biology is the same. Life is like a relay race. How many of you know a relay race? You know it, eh? We start with full energy, but at the end of that race, we get drained, and therefore pass on the relay button to the next runner. Without that button, the race can no longer be a relay race, but something else. In my view, patriotism is the baton which each generation must bequeath to the next. Patriotism is not and must not be an abstract concept. A patriot must strive for equitable distribution of the country's wealth to all our people. A patriot, therefore, must also be economically strong, politically astute, technologically advanced, culturally sound, sociologically in tune, and above all, morally and spiritually human. The Constitution, as quoted above, is clear what or how that can or will be done and what we need to know. There is a saying that he who knows not and knows that he knows not is wise. He who knows not and does not know that he knows not is not wise. Some other people call it other name. For purposes, because you are younger than me, let me not say that. Otherwise, IMS will not give me a walende when I go to Along. Yeah, the Namibian Patriots training program is timely. I hope that it will work with government institutions like the Namibian National Youth Service. For your information, National Youth Service was founded precisely on the understanding that we must instill in the young people patriotism. At the time we were still in the office, how the National Youth Service was founded. So therefore, this initiative you have can work with the National Youth Service, find them where they are sleeping, wake them up, and be able to make them understand that this is a statutory obligation to ensure that, yeah, yes, okay, so. Yeah, please stand up. This man here, he has also gained something. Give him a round of applause. He has worked for the young fraternity for many, many years. Yes. Agriculturalist, and he does all other things. And he's also linked with us to Arandis. First time? Yeah. So NYS, the Office of the Ombudsman, the University of Namibia, where we are, etc., to educate Namibians about patriotism and citizenship. In Kavango, there's a saying, Kwatoko na mkwenu, likaliove chiluli chihongomoka. That means, when you are in a village trying to put up a hut, you know that traditional hut, it is very difficult, no matter how strong you are, that you yourself alone must make all that hut to stand strong. Normally, it is the community. Normally, it's the people in the area, in the village, some of whom may be family, not families, and so forth. They come together. They help you with the balance to make sure that the gravity and all matters of things of architecture of that standard is put together. So therefore, patriotism also requires that we, each one, take this hand, take that hand, and we work together. Mutitenge? Yes. So we need to be able to do that. Once again, always remember that every Namibian has equal and inalienable rights, just like all members of the human family. Unfortunately, some do not know that. Some think that others are maybe holding rights for them. So some think that they are citizens on behalf of other citizens. And some people who belong to certain organizations think they are members of other members. Individual rights. Every person in Namibia, you have that rights. Equally, as per Article 95 of the Namibian Constitution, read together with the rights and freedoms contemplated under Chapter 3, all patriots must be active, and they shouldn't be passive citizens of Namibia. And I implore you, many of these provisions I'm quoting, I hope you'll be able to go and read them so that you internalize them. Don't take my word for it. Go and read it. You know, there are some pastors who can tell you it is John so, but it is not true. So please go and read and ascertain whether what I'm saying is true. But sure enough, if you read Article 95, it will tell you that you, as a citizen, there are certain things you must do. You must be seen to be actively involved. Okay? These rights are like the oxygen of your life. Only God can take it away from you. Nobody else of human and flesh, because they too are at the mercy of Comrade God to pluck it or leave it. So don't be scared. It is yours, yours only. Director of ceremonies. There is no sin to be an active citizen. I think there is a big sin to be a passive citizen. Many of those who endured hardship, those who paid with their lives in the resistance war against Imperial Germany, against Portugal, against England, against apartheid colonialism, those who sacrificed their youth, those maimed and persecuted, all of them were active freedom fighters, fighting patriotically for a free and independent Namibia. Passive citizenry will mean betraying those whose blood waters our freedom. Passive citizenry would mean betraying the future of Namibia. Therefore, every Namibian must be active citizen. An active citizen is a fearless patriot. A patriot is by nature respectful and tolerant of views of others that may not conform to your own views. A patriot is like the sun. It shines for all and reaches everywhere. Patriots, in my view, are therefore different from parrots. The former should have the ability, that's now the patriot, the ability to think and reason independently, whereas the latter behaves like a programmable machine in a human flesh. I'm not suggesting that patriots are infallible and therefore have no mistakes. No. On the contrary, they are human of flesh and blood too. They make mistakes, but those mistakes must be honest mistakes. The parrots, on the other hand, find it difficult to process information without being influenced to do so. For example, the programmer will greet the parrot in the morning and say to the parrot, "Good morning." It's programmed. The parrot will say, "Good morning, good morning," as the programmer goes to work. When the programmer returns from work and says to the parrot, "Good evening, parrot," the response from a parrot, unmistakably, will be, "Good morning, sir." Do you see the difference? Because the programmer did not tell the parrot that the time of day has changed. So whereas I left you in the morning, I'm now back in the evening. So good morning, for him was a parrot the whole day. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, until the owner comes. Hey, switch. Oh, good evening. That's the difference between a parrot. And that is not how citizens should be. And that is not how patriots should be. What is the application of patriotism in the context of Namibia? You find, for example, there are some who are employed to be servants of the people. They are to be employees of a government which, as per the Constitution, is elected representatives of the people. Some of these people, too, should be engaged so that they know or are assisted to know what they don't know, so that they can expand on what they already know, especially on the matter of patriotism. You find, however, some that will make a remark in our society about them versus us. They would fuel the innuendos. Apparently these ones, they are pro-government and these ones are anti-government. And they are doing so as representatives of an elected government. You know, and you have heard of it. These statements come from those who are supposed to know. This type of people in our elected government are giving the government a bad name because they eat and become oversatisfied, and when they are oversatisfied, they order those that have not eaten in order for those that have not eaten to clap hands for them because they have eaten and they are oversatisfied. A patriot working for a government that is condescending to the level of the land should not do that. A patriot must be empathetic to the plight of the downtrodden, to the plight of the disadvantaged, especially in a country, as you have alluded to, where majority are unemployed, where majority are poor. So you that is a servant of the people, you must behave at all material times as a servant, because they never elected you to be a master. If you were a master, you were probably going to be God, which you are not. The disadvantaged, therefore, they too need to be assisted to know their rights, read the Constitution, understand the Constitution. Otherwise, you may consign yourselves, this is now the downtrodden, to the inferiority complex of thinking that you are perpetually, you are just a downtrodden forever. Like some of us, I remember when we were trying to do science and mathematics in apartheid, they will tell you that because you are black, you just forget, you will not pass. And then you go home, they say, yeah, what, Ngurare, mathematics? No, 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 your head is too is what? Yeah, it's a hard, your head is too hard. And then you end up actually believing that your head is harder. You see,